Texas Podcast Massacre contains spoilers and adult language. For more horror, visit us at our website at texaspodcastmassacre.com.
How's it taste, mother?
Can you stop yelling at me, please?
No, I can't stop yelling, because that's how I talk. You ain't never seen my movies? Juice, that was a good one. Deep Blue Sea, they ate me. A shark ate me. Drink, bitch. Samuel Jackson, it's my beer. Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell.
This is Texas Podcast Massacre.
Welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, coming to you from Houston, Texas. I'm your host, Mitch, and with me, as always, is my fellow shark scientist, Nate.
She screwed with the sharks, and now the sharks are screwing with us.
Those damn petty ass sharks, man. I tell you. Welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, where each week we take a look at a different horror movie and debate a horror-related topic with our unsuspecting victim, who is usually not someone we would consider a horror fan. We are in week 3 of our Man vs. Animal series, and this week is this was our viewer's choice. It really came down to the wire, Nate. There was a strong push for Anaconda, which is I have been very vocal about my desire to watch Anaconda in this month. It almost made it. You got nervous at one point. I think I was telling you the results, and you got nervous. But Deep Blue Sea won out. And if you haven't seen Deep Blue Sea, you're in for a treat. Hopefully you have. We actually brought in returning unsuspecting victim and resident Texas Podcast Massacre ornithologist, Taylor. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back. I'm excited to share with you the recipe for a perfect omelet.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. That's
classic parrot omelet.
Where do you think he's getting the eggs? It's
okay. Do parrots lay? Wow. Okay. Yes.
Like, do you see a farm on this? Why? Yeah. Jesus. Yeah. So really, sharks, birds of the sea. I would think is that an accurate scientific statement?
I think we'll go with it.
No. Birds are the sharks of the air. Sharks came first, man.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That makes sense.
Okay.
Like eagles are the alpha predator of the air. Sharks are the alpha predator of the water.
So Taylor, you are our resident animalologist. Beavers of the zombie variety. Birds. Also birds. Birds. You did birds twice.
Of many varieties.
Yeah, exactly. And now you got sharks. So we're trying to keep it one animal in the air, one animal on land and in water. Yeah. Now one just in water.
Well, I had the crocodile one too. I was here for crawl. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. And carousel, if you want to count a fake unicorn. From a carousel. Yeah. So,
but you're also here for Ice Cream Man was the odd man out in this one.
Well, there was certainly still a predator creature in that one. So, oh man,
that movie somehow took us 5 hours to watch. Nate, there was one. This is not the Ice Cream Man review, but there's literally one scene I remember. I think we rewound and watched it like 3 times. Because
now I have the Blu-ray. We can actually do it again with the director's commentary. With the director commentary.
I would say we had to spend some time on it because that was the only time we could believe we were reasonably going to see that film. So, based on the sketchy circumstances under which we acquired it. So.
Right. No, Nate found, Nate made some new friends at Fantastic Fest. Some of them owned the Blu-ray for this movie, so Ice Cream Man. So I don't know. I would think the Blu-ray for Deep Blue Sea has more features. Maybe it's a little more polished, but Nate, you'd have to tell us because I'm not going to sit through the Ice Cream Man Blu-ray.
Well, I will, and I'll let you know. I will. It'll be an update just from me.
Oh, goodness. Well, Taylor, it is great to have you back. Been too long. Now, before we do get into our review, because I'm pun intended chomping at the bit for this week's episode, let's get into a little bit of a debate question.
Bid our father, the Sea King, rise from the depths full foul in his fury. Black waves teeming with salt foam to smother this young mouth with pungent slime.
Such gravitas. Okay, so we got two different debate questions. So one of them came in from our mailbag. So I'll start with that one before we get into our main one. So I remember every Monday we have our mailbag. I mean, honestly, you can send us things anytime, but we have our mailbag Monday. This came in over on Twitter from Benji Gray. Benji asks, who would you take to a shark fight? So would you take Sam Jackson from Deep Blue Sea? Would you take Louis Gossett Jr. from Jaws 3?
Oh, yes.
Would you take... Well, there you go. We can just wrap that one. Now, would you take Rainn Wilson, so Dwight from the Meg, or Tara Reid from Sharknado? Who are you bringing to this shark fight?
Okay, I'm going to answer first. I'm going to go with Tara Reid, because sharks smell blood, right? But I don't know how much actual physical normal skin and body parts Tara Reid has left.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the shark wouldn't even go for her.
Mm.
You'd be like, ooh, that's not.
Well, I mean, that the blood.
That's not real.
If there's not that much blood and it's almost all alcohol, I mean, at what point does the shark I'm drunk?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Tara Reid. Look, and if you need worst case scenario, you need someone to throw to the shark, Stellan Skarsgård style from this movie. She can't fight back. We saw in Bus Ride to Hell that she can't even lift a machete. So you'd be able to easily use her as a human shield. Worst case scenario.
Yeah, I agree.
The Tara Reid for me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the way I read this question was, who? I mean, is this going to be so is Tara Reid going as your sacrificial lamb? Like you're going with the express purpose that she'll distract the sharks from you so you can get away, or?
Absolutely, yes. That's exactly how I'd go with it. Yeah.
Okay. Taylor, how about you? Who are you bringing?
So I've not seen The Meg, so I don't know what Rainn Wilson's character is in that film, but I'm thinking of The Office as well as other films he's been in, as he's generally pretty chaotic. Is he also chaotic in The Meg?
I actually have not seen The Meg.
We have not seen The Meg, so let's just assume Dwight Schrute in this case.
Yeah, go with Dwight Schrute.
Yeah, because I like the level of chaos he brings to the table of just unpredictability. I feel like that's just a good trait to have on your side when you're facing a creature that's operating on instinct. So I'd pick him.
Yeah, I mean, look, Dwight probably knows his shark stuff. You know what I mean? Like
he's more of a bear. He's more of a bear guy, though. Is he in the?
Sharks are the bears of the water, Nate.
Just because he likes bears more doesn't necessarily.
God damn it!
Walked right into that one. Yep,
I walked into that.
Oh goodness. I mean, okay. So yeah, for me, it's. I mean, look, I feel like, and we're gonna get into it, but there was a little bit of a sneak attack. I think Sam Jackson, though, 9 times out of 10 is probably your best bet, right? I mean, Sam Jackson, any other
not
role
in this movie. Hold on.
Not in this movie. 9 out of 10. 9, yeah. Look, some days it's like when you get sucker punched and you're like, all right, you got me that one. but you ain't gonna get me again. I feel like that's Sam Jackson. Like,
are you saying like Snakes on a Plane was like the revenge movie?
Right.
Like I let the shark get me, but the snakes
in this
never.
film felt so similar that I was like, okay, maybe it is a revenge film.
Yeah.
Snakes on a Plane. That's a good theory.
Now, here's the problem.
Wait, was he playing a twin? Is this like a tied cinematic universe where that was his twin? Maybe
they're like parallel realities.
I mean, just remember, this is a Sam Jackson that survives a horrific hiking or a mountain climbing trip or something, right? I mean, it's a survivor. He just happens to let his guard down for just a little bit. But I mean, look,
I disagree. He had been there for all of 2 hours and was explaining to them how to get out of the facility that they knew much better than him, and then he got eaten. I was like, bro.
Plus, he says ice moves faster.
In my notes, he's been here 2 hours. How is he going to do this? And then he chomp.
This is classic management, okay?
Yeah, really.
He's got, look, just because he's not in the office every day, the fact that he paid for it means that he knows it all, okay?
He says ice moves faster than water. I go, wait, well, hold on. What? Once he said that, never listened to him about going in, as far as I'm concerned.
All right, well, Benji, we have a bit of a three-way tie here. I don't think anyone does. You'll have to let us know who you agreed with.
Tara Reid survived. Suck it, Sam Jackson. Multiple sequels. She can handle sharks in the water
the sharks
and on land.
They were in air being flown around. I mean, sidestep and you're fine.
They killed a lot of other people.
Well, she's hard. She's easy to miss. I don't know what to tell you.
That's what I'm saying. I want her with me.
I mean, she more likely you'll be the one they go after, and not her. It's. Ooh. I don't know. Well, it's up for debate. So Benji, let us know. Who would you have gone with? Now let's get into our main debate question. So, I mean, the really, look, every horror movie, especially lately, modern horror movies are all like, science is going to doom us. Apparently, the scientists are trying to play God. They're trying to create something. They're trying to fix something, but they break all the rules, and then bad shit happens. Right. My question to you is, in the history of these type of movies, how bad are this group of scientists, right? Are there worse science, groups of scientists in other movies? Are these the worst? Where do y'all stand on this group?
Well, I'll start, and I'll preface this with, I haven't seen probably nearly the number of films that fit this niche as you guys have, but I personally thought they were all pretty hard on, I don't remember her name, Sarah, was that the main chick's name?
Yeah,
I thought they were pretty hard on her for what I thought was a pretty reasonable goal of trying to cure Alzheimer's, which is a horrible disease. I don't know, she wasn't trying to open a theme park, or it wasn't based purely in hubris. I was like, I feel like she has a worthy goal, and they were all on board. They were all on board until things started going bad. And then they're all like, look what you did to her. And I was like, you all were here. You all did this. I don't know. I personally was like, I could respect the goal they were working towards. And I was like, obviously in the movie, it's very easy to be like, they shouldn't have done this, clearly, but I don't know. It was I feel like the decisions that led to that point, if this was a real scenario, you could reasonably see someone making those same decisions.
Yeah, I think there's much worse. I mean, the thing about when the shark was going to escape was okay, with that one shark, would that have been that bad? That one shark escaping? I know they were
explaining at the beginning.
No, the last one, the last shark could have escaped. There's one left, right? Mm-hmm. Last shark escapes. Okay, so what? They mate, and then there's super sharks everywhere. It doesn't seem likely. There are scientists who ruin the earth, like Snowpiercer. And Snowpiercer, trying to stop global warming, made everything real cold. all except on one train moving around the earth. Everything else is dead. I mean, that's way worse, right?
Yeah, it's true. They're out in the middle of the ocean. They're not really near anyone else. There's limited people there. Like, they're really doing a lot to kind of mitigate the potential harm they could cause.
Yeah, like if the one shark gets away, you know, maybe they mate, maybe they don't, because they like eating other sharks. So, I mean,
was the shark at the beginning an escaped shark? I was unclear on that. In general, I thought the whole starting scene didn't need to be there, but
one of the sharks escaped for transmagical reasons. The reason was that shark got smart and found a way to jump it.
That was the point of that scene, because I didn't get that.
Yeah, shark got smart.
But they, luckily, a guy was there with his harpoon and no harm done. So,
Tom Jane is basically a superhero in this movie. We're gonna get into that.
Yes,
great. But okay, Mitch, what's yours then? So I got Snowpiercer.
Okay,
what do you got?
I mean, yeah, I would have put them above Jurassic Park, just because Jurassic Park, at least they're confined to an island. But you do make a good point, Taylor. This is at least a better reasoning than just, hey, you want to bring your kids come see the dinosaurs? That sounds like cool, right? So yeah, maybe I need to be reverse thinking. No, I mean, look, the worst experiment, the worst like science gone wrong, has to be The Fly. I mean, this dude creates. That's
just one guy though. Only one guy got jacked.
Well, I mean, only 2-3 sharks got jacked in this. You're just saying that kills.
Tell it to Stellan Skarsgård, who got dunked, underwater dunked into his friend's face.
Did you see The Lazarus Effect?
With Olivia Wilde? Yes, I did see that, unfortunately.
And Donald, yeah. I mean, these are the age-old scientists trying to bring back people from the dead. Never goes well. Dumb. Just don't do it. Let people die. It's fine. I mean, that's a group for stupidest scientists for sure. Yeah, I mean, what Taylor said makes total sense to me. I mean, there's some when it's a good reason, but I don't know. Living forever, not a good reason. Curing Alzheimer's, great reason.
Yeah, it's the most noble reason probably of any of these kind of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's where I'm going. I mean, because for some reason I keep coming to like mad scientists, and that's a different kind of caveat.
Yeah, Frankenstein. You're talking about Frankenstein.
But yeah, human centipede. Yeah, I mean, those are guys that are like purposefully trying to like
the closest movie that this probably, in terms of movies I've seen, the closest one is probably Splice.
Yeah. That's...
They take DNA, they mess with something on purpose. It becomes too much for them to handle, and if it gets out, it could wreak havoc. But it's only one thing.
Yeah, I mean,
probably the closest one.
I'm trying to save it for next week, but there also is the man's best friend scientist who genetically engineered this dog. And I mean, just stop fucking with things. Just leave them alone. I don't know.
Well, Mitch, that's how dogs even exist, is because they were artificially bred.
Well, they were wolves first. Now, yes, the different breeds, but dogs existed in the wild before they became like tiny miniature toy things. What about here? Let me throw out some for you real quick. Just you give me a sense of, just say better or worse than the scientists in this movie. Let's talk about the scientists from Resident Evil.
That's worse than this.
Yeah, worse.
Resident Evil, the world had a lot more impact.
Well, yeah, but it's just that they're the same thing. They were trying to come up with some cure for disease, and then someone smashed a vial and it got out. Okay.
But in their corporation, though, they were trying to like hide it, whereas at least the boss in this movie took one for the team.
Okay.
So I'll still give it the bonus. Yeah.
Sure. What about 28 Days Later?
That wasn't the scientist's fault.
Was it? Well, but
that was the
scientists
people
were
who broke the thing out.
Well, scientists were experimenting with monkeys.
So,
and then they broke out the monkeys, and then that's what had the virus. So maybe a scientist had been infecting monkeys with the rage virus.
Maybe if people hadn't been setting random monkeys free.
Nate, you seem to be very a science apologist here.
I am pro animal testing. I know some people are not. I am pro animal testing. So that's maybe where that comes from.
PETA, you can find Nate at Nate TPN. Do not send that to our normal Gmail, which is TexasPodcastMassacre@gmail.com. You let us know where you think this group of scientists ranks. Someone's
gonna pick Human Centipede. That's gonna be a 5-star Apple Podcast review for Human Centipede coming up.
No one's doing that. But do leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Once we get done with Man versus Animal Month, we will be back to doing requests and other things that we have sort of planned. We may have more theme months. Who knows?
No, we do. No, I got them. I got them lined up. Get ready.
I got to do enough to just keep. It's sort of like Cabin in the Woods. I got to do enough to appease Nate so he doesn't just wreak havoc all over this podcast.
So the earth doesn't explode.
That's right. So I got to give him a couple months, and then, he's appeased, and then we go. But that said, let us know at TX Pod Massacre, Texas Podcast Massacre, everywhere else. Let's get in to this week's movie of the week, Deep Blue Sea.
Tell me, Mr. Franklin, have you ever known anyone with Alzheimer's?
No.
What if you could end all that suffering with a single pill? Give me till Monday morning, 48 hours. I'll give you results that'll skyrocket your stock price.
In the most advanced research facility in the world. Wow.
Beneath its glassy surface, a world of gliding monsters.
A team of specialists is working against the clock.
Did someone order the fish?
On an experiment to benefit mankind.
Sharks never show any loss of brain activity as they age.
We're this close to the reactivation of a human brain cell.
But before they can save millions of lives...
Tell me I didn't see that. They recognize that gun.
It's impossible. Sharks do not swim backwards. They can't.
They'll have to find a way to save their own.
Just what the hell did you do to those sharks?
Did you feel something?
Jim and I use gene therapies to increase their brain mass.
What is that?
As a side effect, the sharks got smarter.
Somebody, please, tell me what that is. Go!
Deep Blue Sea. I mean, Nate, how excited were you when this won the listener poll?
I was very excited.
Now, was this the one you were hoping for of the 4 options that we gave everyone?
Absolutely was. Anaconda, I didn't want none. And thank you. And this was good. I mean, Lake Placid was a solid second for me. Arachnophobia is creepy as shit.
It is.
So that also would have been good.
I kind of want to save that for Lisa because she is definitely afraid of spiders. Although I know she's never going to watch that movie.
Yeah, that seems like absolutely no.
I don't know. I may trick her into it one day. Now, Nate, would you say that your hat is like a shark's fin?
Deepest Bluest, my hat is like a shark's fin.
Yes,
it's so sad. I bought that song so many years ago. It's still on my computer. It's so sad.
I'm really sad we're not doing this for our annual Halloween episode that we've been doing with Why I Hate This Album, because man, I would love to hear their take on this LL Cool J jam. I mean, did you look at the lyrics for this thing?
I did. I have some highlights.
First, Taylor, were you aware that this song existed prior to this movie to watching this movie?
No, I was brutally shocked by it at the end of the film.
You didn't know the hat. My hat is like a shark's fin dance. There's a dance.
No, I had no, to be completely honest, I had zero awareness of this movie period before you guys asked me to be on this show. And I had not heard that song.
Nate, how many?
I will say it did make me stick around through the credits. So
wow, okay.
I was like, I have to hear more of this.
Normally the person who does the person who does the song is kind of like the headliner of the movie. We got Will Smith, and then Will Smith does. You got Beyonce in a movie. Beyonce will do the music. Same thing with like Justin Timberlake. LL Cool J is like the 7th actor in this movie, and yet they still got him for one.
He was both the most unnecessary and most necessary character in this film. So I thought it was pretty good. I liked that they let him do the song at the end. I liked his arc, if you can call it an arc.
Now, Nate, we currently are sitting, like, we don't do a whole, we're trying to be better about social media. Right now, Twitter, we're about 330 followers or so. Decent, respectable. Would you be willing, if we got to 1,000 followers, would you be willing to film yourself doing the hat is like a shark's fin dance for the people of the internet?
I absolutely would. What do you mean?
You got it. If we could get to 1,000 followers, Nate will do this dance, and we will put.
I did the dance today, just on my own. So
Nate, you got to make it sound like you're not just like willing to do this. Otherwise,
but
people are just going to think you're going to cave and do it. I mean,
would I be willing to send it out to people? No, not nearly as much. So that's the difference.
Yeah. If we get to 1,000, then absolutely. If we get to 1,000 followers, I'm gonna make it. Here's our stretch goal. If we get to $1,000, we get to 1,000 followers before the end of August, you and I will do it together, TikTok style.
Oh, okay. Yes.
There's a time limit on that one. You gotta, because TikTok's about to be banned. But let's get into this movie. Nate, what can you tell us about Deep Blue Sea?
Deep Blue Sea, you can tell by the trailer, came out July 28th, 1999. So still the old style trailers. This movie is 100% R. So many shark related murders. 105 minutes breezes by. It didn't feel super long. It's a 5.9 on IMDb. The budget was between 60 and 82 million. That's kind of a huge gap. And it made 165 in the box office. It also spawned the sequel Deep Blue Sea 2, which came out directly to MP4 in 2018. And there's a third film, Deep Blue Sea 3, supposedly that's going to be released this year on Netflix. So you got some sequels. Second sequel, or the Deep Blue Sea 2, the sequel, not well reviewed. Let me just put it that way. Not well reviewed at all.
Shocker.
Yeah, shocker. Taglines for this, there's a couple decent ones. The bigger, smarter, faster, meaner, which I'm pretty sure Kanye West and Daft Punk both were happy to steal that in the future. And then the other one that was good is Welcome to the Endangered Species List. It's a pretty good tagline. Yeah. Not terrible. The director of this film is Rennie Harlin. Rennie Harlin has been the director of a variety of movies, including Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. Do you remember that one, Mitch?
Yes, of course I remember that one.
You remember that one? Okay.
Yeah, of course. Fantastic.
That's a word to describe it. I think it was okay if I remember correctly.
Look, the 3 is the best. 4 was pretty good. It's probably in the middle of the pack somewhere, upper middle. But
yeah, he had a couple small movies, Die Hard 2 and Cliffhanger after that, which are huge movies. The Long Kiss Goodnight was his film before this. Huge movies. Deep Blue Sea. Do you remember that movie Driven, where Sylvester Stallone was a race car driver?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all you really need to know is that he's a race car driver in that one. He hits a coin on the racetrack with his back tire. I remember that. I saw the movie. I remember 3 seconds of it. He did Exorcist, the beginning, the 2004 movie. He got Stellan Skarsgård back for that one after he brutally murdered him in this film. He also did. Then things went a little downhill after that. He did some Burn Notice, White Collar, and Covert Affairs episode. So he got into a USA TV show phase, which is, I would say, somewhat of a slide down from Die Hard 2 and Cliffhanger. But, that's just me. He did the Mindhunters movie in 2004, not to be confused with the Netflix show. And he now has been doing really weird movies like The Legend of the Ancient Sword. Luokakukos 3 is coming out, whatever that means, in 2021. And he's got, I can't even pronounce it. It's like a Greek person threw up and put a 3 at the end. That's the name of this film. And then his latest film, or the next one's going to come out from him, is it's a movie called The Misfits featuring Pierce Brosnan with an unconventional thieving ring stealing gold. So he's going back to some of those roots. Hopefully it works out. This guy's all over the map, but some great films, I would say, including, well, I don't know about great, but good films, including this one. Is the main actor Tom Jane in this? I think so, right? Is he the main person?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
Tom Jane, superhero in this film. He came from Louisiana, Mitch, so I know you had to have been all down for that. There was some Louisiana homespun wisdom coming out of this dude.
Oh, yeah. Well, there were Louisiana plates coming out of the shark, so yeah, it makes sense. I mean,
that was an airboat plate. That wasn't even a car plate. Like they were. That was it.
It left Louisiana because they were probably trying to fucking eat it. So this makes sense.
Yeah, Tom Jane has been in a lot of things. He was in Crow, City of Angels. That's definitely horror-esque. He was in this film, The Thin Red Line. He was in Dreamcatcher. That was a Stephen King joint. He was the Punisher, obviously. Another Stephen King story, The Mist, which is one of my favorite horror films. He was in that. I always remember him as one of the uncredited vegan police in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, where they kill the guy for pretending to be vegan.
Oh, shit, it was. You're right.
And he high fives the other guy as they run out. That's one of my favorite things of him. And he's in all kinds of stuff. One of my favorite TV shows of recent years, The Expanse. Highly recommend that. He's very good in that. And he's got 5 announced or post-production films happening. So he's still very much in the game. Someone who's not in the game as much is Saffron Burrows. Saffron Burrows plays the boss, Dr. Susan McAllister. The last thing that she was in that I knew is probably Mozart in the Jungle, the Amazon Prime TV show that I don't think anyone else saw but me. So that was good. And she's in the Netflix series You with the guy who was from Gossip Girl. So I don't know have you guys seen
She's
You?
in that?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Who is she in You?
I don't know. It's down low in the full cast.
Yeah.
It's low.
She's like older than pretty much most of the people who were primary.
She was in
show.
4 episodes of that show. So there you go.
Was he? Maybe she was his mom. I don't know. In the second season? Was it season 2?
She played Dottie Quinn, whoever that is.
Nope. No clue.
No idea.
No idea.
No.
Doesn't ring a bell.
I had to look that one. I obviously didn't remember that from scratch. Samuel L. Jackson.
Though, yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson is in this also. Horror movies. I mean, he's been in every single movie, so I got to pick out just the horror ones. He was in, and he's in so many movies, but he's been in definitely Snakes on a Plane. Kong Skull Island, I would probably call a horror film. Semi-horror film.
I'm laughing because someone, I can't remember who said, someone, I was talking to someone, one of my old college friends, I think, and I told him we were doing Man versus Animals. I said, we're going to do a Samuel Jackson movies. He goes, oh yeah, you're going to do Black Snake Moan. I was like, that is not a Man versus Animal film. That's
one where
no.
That's when we have Christina Ricci on a leash.
Yeah.
Like a chain link leash, like a dog for a while.
Yeah. Not great.
Different snake movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been in a number of snake. I can see how you might get confused. He's been in a number of snake films.
That was the same year as Snakes on a Plane, if I remember correctly. That could have been the same.
It was nearby.
Year.
It could have been. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very close. I remember the movie poster on that was like, whoo, all right. You know what you're getting into from the jump on that one. He's been in every movie. And of course he was in Unbreakable, and he played Shaft in 2000 and all the way in 2019. He played John Shaft in his unforgettable role as Shaft. And he's been in every other movie ever. We got to highlight LL Cool J. LL Cool J in the late 90s. Like, this is before he was in 8,000 seasons of NCIS Los Angeles. So he wasn't acting all over the place. But in a 2-year span, 1998, he got Halloween H2O, and then he got Deep Blue Sea. And Any Given Sunday. So, I mean, like, if you get that in a couple of years, pretty solid. Since then, he'd been in SWAT. He was in that same Mindhunters movie, so he stayed with the same dude. He's like, I like that dude. So kept working with him. People seem to like this guy. There's a lot of people in the same ones. He played, I don't know if you remember, in 30 Rock, he played like the Suge Knight character, Ridiculous. I don't know if you remember that, Mitch.
I've been rewatching 30 Rock. I haven't gotten to Ridiculousness. So that's
okay. Yeah, he's ridiculous. And then, yeah, like I said, he doesn't really have to be in a whole lot of movies because he's in every single season of NCIS and Los Angeles, and I'm pretty sure he gets paid $1 jillion. So there's that. Some of the interesting things about this film that are nothing to do with the film, but just about sharks in general. Let me give you some facts about sharks. Sharks have existed 100 million years longer than trees. So sharks are 450 million years old. Trees are only 350 million years old. So think about that. Sharks older than trees. They survived 4 of the 5 mass extinction events on Earth. And the oldest vertebrate ever is indeed a 500-year-old shark. That was 5 meters long. Can you imagine this? Everyone's speechless.
Yeah.
It's a lot to process.
Yeah.
I actually am blown away by the fact that sharks are older than trees.
Yeah,
that seems impossible, but science says it's possible. So that's really crazy.
Yeah, man, sharks. No joke. That's why I said birds are the sharks of the air. Because like the sharks were already like laying it down, no problem, before birds even came into the picture. So yeah, Mitch, thoughts? What do you think? 500-year-old sharks? Terrifying?
Yes.
I think most only lived like 60, 70 years. Like it's like a top out is what they thought. But now they're like, ooh, some can be a lot older. Apparently, certain sharks off Greenland have they just don't age. That's kind of what they were saying in this movie. There are certain kinds of sharks that they couldn't even tell how old they were, but there's these deposits in their eyes that build up like tree circles. That's how they figure out how old they are. But they don't age.
Now, are either of y'all overly scared of sharks, typically, or I mean?
No, I don't really go in the ocean for that explicit purpose.
No.
But you are afraid of sharks.
No. I mean, I don't like going in the ocean just generally because the ocean's like tides, all the animals in the ocean. I'm a freshwater person. Lakes, rivers, all about it.
No, but Taylor's right.
I've seen some gators in my life, and I'm way more afraid of freshwater gators than going in an ocean and being eaten by a shark because it just doesn't. I've never seen a shark outside a museum.
I'm not worried about sharks per se. I'm just saying I stick more to the freshwater. So it just happens. It's just icing on the cake that I know no sharks will come after me. So
the same freshwaters that are used to make Oberon, the beer of the summer.
Exactly. Now you might be saying, oh, well, aren't piranhas in freshwater like our last movie, Piranha 3D? Well, they're only in South America. So as long as you're not in South America.
Unless they're in a chasm underneath your lake.
Well, I'm not going to Lake Havasu in Arizona.
Did you not learn anything from Piranha 3D? You learned nothing, sir.
It was Lake Havasu in Arizona. I'm totally fine. But yeah, so that's just
you're
a
saying
side
Lake Conroe here in Texas does not have piranha hidden underneath the depths.
I don't know. These are great. I don't actually go there, so. To be fair, if there was terrible man-eating fish somewhere in the U.S., it'd have to be in the South. It's not going to be up north. There's no way those fish could handle it. So up north, lakes are the best.
Yeah, I asked because, look, Discovery Channel has done, admirable work trying to help people realize, hey, sharks are fine. They dedicate a week every year.
Hey, sharks are great.
To just saying sharks are great. Look. You're just never going to convince some people. My mother-in-law will not let little Damien, really does not like little Damien watching Baby Shark because she thinks that
what?
Because she says it teaches kids sharks are okay to hang out with. And that's
don't they run away from the sharks? The things run away from the sharks in that video.
They look friendly and everyone's having a good time. And she's like, no, that's no, I don't know.
Most sharks are harmless. So to be fair,
look, what I'm getting at is I think my mother-in-law is kind of following into what we used to do, Nate, or what we used to kind of preach is that you got to watch horror movies to learn life lessons, and she clearly wants Damien to watch Jaws.
Hey, Damien, I watched the documentary Deep Blue Sea, and what I came away from that is that we need to never go near sharks.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah. So speaking of sharks, one last thing I wanted to mention. I have a lot of trivia we'll talk about throughout the thing, but they made a bunch of independently swimming remote-controlled machines of these sharks. Some of them had 1,000 horsepower and weighed over 8,000 pounds. They made 4.5 of them. Yes, for this film, 3 15-foot Makos and one of the second generation sharks, or 1.5, I guess, which was 26 feet long. Why was it 26 feet long? Because the shark in Jaws was 25 feet long, so they went 26 instead. Yeah. But yeah, they had some real freaking sharks. I believe the shark that was in the lab when they were stabbing it was a animatronic shark. That was the full body. So you can see where some of that $60 to $80 million went. They spent 8 months making sharks.
I'm no expert, but I thought it looked pretty good. I was actually pretty impressed with it. Yeah.
It's dated for sure, but it still doesn't look bad.
Well, the animatronics I think look good.
No, the animatronics are great. It's the CGI.
The CGI.
That part. No, they should have stuck with the animatronics. All right, let's get into this. So, Taylor, we were talking before the episode. I was shocked when you said you had not seen this movie, and shocked in a good way because I knew Like this is an experience, and it's so rare to have one of these movies that I feel like, I mean, the Sam Jackson in this movie is, I feel like, a pretty big cultural thing, has become a big sort of thing. So I wanted you to be able to have a fresh view on it. I wish I could have seen you watch this movie, honestly. Taylor, overall, what did you think of Deep Blue Sea?
Overall, I will say I had a very low bar because I often suspect you guys invite me for the most terrible films you can.
No, how dare you?
No, I've been on for some good ones too, but I wasn't
Birdemic.
sure.
Okay, that's fair.
I wasn't sure if it was going to be like, I don't know, if it was going to be my cup of tea, but I really loved this. I guess love is a strong word. It's not a movie I would defend to the death, but I greatly enjoyed the experience of watching this movie. I don't know if I would watch it again necessarily, but I don't know. It definitely exceeded my expectations. I felt emotions throughout, whether it be like outrage at the character's stupidity, or I laughed a lot. It was very funny. I don't know. I enjoyed it, and I had a lot more thoughts on it than I expected to. It was a lot of fun to watch it. I was very glad y'all asked me to join for this one after having seen it.
Yeah, I got worried. You mentioned you were looking at something. I'm like, turn off Google, stop that. I didn't want you to see the of course the most famous scene in this movie before. You don't want that ruined for you.
It's one of the most memorable scenes in film history.
I agree.
I don't think I'm exaggerating there.
I mean, we opened up this episode with the Chappelle Show, kind of line, but I mean, yeah, it's for a guy like Sam Jackson who has a lifetime of iconic, movie scenes and all that. This one somehow is up at the top. I would say, right?
It was truly shocking. It was like, I don't know. I think in general, something I liked about this film was the top billed actors were not safe because they were the top billed actors. And so, I would say Skarsgård's scene was equal. I mean, I don't know. It was a little more predictable, but it was equally like, there were some elements there that were pretty awesome. Yeah. And then, the Sam Jackson scene was like, I legit sat up at the edge of the seat, like pure shock. Like it was just so unexpected. It was awesome.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. I mean, it's so good.
So let's talk about the concept of this. Really, at least what leads everyone here, right? So there's research being done on Alzheimer's, trying to basically find a cure for it. And of course, because one of the sharks gets out, they're basically going to shut it down.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your overall view of just this whole facility, the whole operation.
Come up with a better name. Come up with a better name. Aquatica. Come on. You're already starting from a deficit.
Nate, what are you going with? Okay, you're a new investor. You're taking over. What are you calling this?
I mean, Deepest Bluest would be perfect. I mean, it's in the song title. That's. Oh man, I don't know.
Okay,
just call it Finn, like the end. Oh. You're all gonna die. Oh, it could be that. Oh man, I don't know.
Okay.
Not Aquatica. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that.
Like the guy who can't come up with a better name.
Right. Yeah, it's always easy to crap on other names until you can come up with your own, right?
Well, okay. That's fair.
Now, I mean,
that's fair.
I love this movie as sort of a point in time because they're using zip drives. And it just, I was so happy to see that. Do you remember zip drives? Like, there's no way they had all the, those zip drives could store the drawings and everything they were pulling up on there. But it took me back. It took me back.
Yeah, I mean, the technology they had here was, I mean, for 1999 was pretty amazing. I mean, all these screens and man, it was awesome.
If they're running, I know at the time, right? I mean, hopefully they were still running Windows 98, not ME, right? I mean,
yeah, ideally,
yeah, that'd be a problem. Overall, what anything else that kind of stood up about this crew? Like, I like that I thought it was a ballsy move. I mean, granted, it's desperation play, but ballsy move that she's like, hey, we're getting shut down, but I'm going to go ahead and still let the staff all leave for the weekend. And not just be like, hey, everyone needs to be here working or we're all fired. She's like, no, we'll just do the skeleton crew. It'll be fine. We'll make some. Maybe that was just me.
They ended up skeletons. That's for sure. Yeah, the surprise birthday party was pretty good.
Surprise birthday party was, in my opinion, alarming because obviously knowing it's a horror film, I was like, they're going to need those flares. Why are they shooting them in the sky at this birthday party?
Good point. Good point. Yeah, that's actually not great.
I was shocked that anyone on at a facility like this would just fire off flares willy-nilly. I was like, I don't know about that. The rest of it, yeah, it was fine.
Like, I'm about to be unemployed.
Didn't spend much time celebrating her birthday, but I guess it was cool they had a party.
Well, they spent $200 million in this facility and included. Can I just talk about the facility's flaws?
Of course.
For a second. Hey, you know what we should put in an underwater facility? A huge glass window. Let's do that real quick. That can never come. That could never come back to haunt us with huge 20-some foot sharks. No problems. What do you need? What do you need the glass for? If you have like 1 million cameras, you have 1 million cameras. I hated it. I hated that they had a huge glass thing. Now, did I love what happened with it? Absolutely. But it was absolutely terrible structural design.
How about the fences? What are your thoughts on the fences?
Yeah, I don't know about this fencing. I don't understand why they couldn't do this like in a SeaWorld. Like, why does this have to be in the actual ocean? I have no idea.
No.
I don't understand why that made any sense.
Yeah, like out on a rig. Yeah.
Just buy like a SeaWorld.
I didn't
understand why they they're like obviously genetically modifying these sharks to make them more massive than they already were, because they talked about they were like these.
They need more brains.
Insanely big sharks.
They need more brains.
I like that you say
they were like, yeah, this little chain link fence here should hold them in fine if the water ever swells and they can get up there. Like,
no. When they're trying to jump over the fence, you just knock on the window, get their attention, and then they stop doing what they're doing.
They quit that.
This fence line was engineered by like the same people that made the New Orleans levees. I mean, it's like we've got it up to a point, and then hopefully it just doesn't cross the top. Titanium underneath, but I guess we ran out for like the fence line above the water surface. Sharks can't jump, right? That was just Free Willy, right? I don't know.
Can we just call it Shark World? Shark World.
Welcome.
To Shark World.
Oh, Christ, there needed to be a John Hammond type character in this movie, and there wasn't. That's what we were missing in this film.
I'll say my theory is that Chris Pratt in Jurassic World is modeled after Tom Jane in this film.
Oh, yes, very much so. Very much so.
Now, Tom Jane is, all right, in my notes, I put him Tom Jane, because he is really, he's just rocking it, all facets. He definitely got jacked for this movie. He's got the Louisiana charm.
Aww.
He's a convict. He's checking all of Mitch's boxes right here for sure. He's riding sharks. Okay, here's another thing.
What was this weird like underwater flip shit he had going on?
He's Matrix dodging sharks in the water in a true life quote unquote film. He's doing Matrix dodges underwater against sharks who can swim 25 to 30 times faster than humans. There's a mako that can get up to 50 miles per hour because it has like weird skin bristles that when it moves one direction, it goes up, and when it goes one direction, it goes flat with no friction. I learned so much about sharks. This is absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, they can swim 25 times faster than us, which is about what they said in the movie. So more science correct here from this movie. I don't know about the genetically modifying them so their brains get huge. I was unable to check that against current literature. I did look.
What I love is Tilly, you said they're obviously doing genetic manipulation, and I wrote in my notes when they're like, "Oh, we don't do that because that's against the Harvard Accord." I'm like, "Oh, is it?" All caps, like we're. I'm sure this won't come back up. Like, oh God.
The thing is, I didn't even catch that line because I was just. But then when I liked how the reveal of that they are genetically modifying them is we broke the Harvard Accord. I was like,
yeah, we broke
wow.
it. Yeah. Should this carry more weight when I say this? Maybe.
Yeah, I wrote three separate lines.
Must have been pretty subtle.
I think I just wrote, I am shocked.
The weight that it should have been was a genetically modified shark's brain, but it was only a normal shark's brain amount of weight.
Now,
that landed.
I have a question for you two. Best on-screen chemistry. The Dr. Susan or whatever her name is, and Carter or Thomas Jane, right?
Yeah.
So those two versus Thomas Jane and Scoggins versus Preacher and the Parrot.
Oh my God.
No,
well,
Tom
when you
Jane.
asked the question, I immediately thought Tom Jane and Scoggins. But now I'm not sure about
Sharks.
the Parrot. Or Tom Jane and Sharks. That's a good one.
They're dancing underwater apparently. Like he's not even worried about it.
Yeah.
The parrot. Like, does the bird die? I mean, a lot of bird deaths in the movies that Taylor has done for this podcast, and this is one of them.
That was very sad. A very sad moment. I would say, though, the fact he was not that broken up about the loss of the... To be fair, he didn't have time to be that broken about the loss of the parrot. Yeah. I don't know. I think Tom Jane and Scoggins. But it's also interesting that you didn't include Skarsgård and the person who was literally playing his wife. Because that was obviously so forced into the plot that there was zero chemistry.
Like, there was zero chance that was winning, so I didn't even bother. Like,
I just love that he didn't even mention the actual real, like, proven relationship in the film.
Yeah. Oh.
She even had like the worst death. Her death wasn't even good. She just got like kind of thrown up a little bit, like into.
She really got the worst end of that deal out of all of them. She had to watch her husband die. And then you're right. She got the lamest death. I was literally like, this poor woman. Like,
look, at least if the person I care about so much is gonna die, at least let me die in an equally terrible fashion. No. Absolutely not. You get the most bland.
Well, not even that. Her husband's lied to her about breaking the Harvard Accord or whatever it was. I mean, it's she's having a lot to deal with, and then she gets like brought up in the shark's mouth. Ugh. God, poor. I don't know. Okay, so I mean, mayhem ensues. I mean, they of course the research pans out. So I mean, there's silver lining, right? Like, I don't know. Why aren't they backing up this data like somewhere?
Was that an old person joke? Silver lining? Was that Alzheimer's joke? What was that?
Well, I wasn't intended to be, but if it works, sure, I'll take credit. I don't know. I feel like they should be backing up this data better than they were. I mean, you're underwater. Certainly,
locker maybe wasn't a good backup.
I don't know. Put a satellite dish or something. There is ways to do telecommunications, send data across. You're underwater. Maybe you've got to at least have some sort of contingency of, hey, what if the shit gets wet?
No. Now with our impenetrable glass window down below, how can that possibly happen? Yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
And first of all, how can the sharks not get through the chain link fence? They can get through like, I don't know, Fort Knox door. How did that happen?
Damn it, Nate! I was saving that.
Yeah, it's like a chain link fence. You could I could probably pull some of the things open a little bit.
How many tons were they saying they could use as force?
20 tons or something. Yeah.
Your Jeep can run through it barely going 20. The shark who just took out an elevator shaft somehow.
Yeah, it's having a hard time with it. Yeah, that's.
Didn't they say they're? I feel like though they said the sharks were hurting them, right? They knew, which whether you believe that or not, whatever. But weren't they trying to get the people on the run so they wouldn't realize they were trying to get out? I feel like that was the very skeptical logic they threw out there if they're hurting us or something like that.
Look, I know we're jumping around so much, but it's so fucking stupid. They're in the water already. Where are they hurting them to the top? They could have just swam to the top and hit the fence and gone out anyway. What did hurting the people do for them?
Well, I guess Tom Jane maybe could have stopped them, but that's about it.
They could have just left long ago.
There's a lot. Okay, now that I'm thinking about it, there could be some holes in Deep Blue Sea.
I don't understand how the initial one got out, the one in the first scene.
No.
Maybe there were repercussions.
Got smart.
Yeah, but maybe the people also changed their ways and the sharks were can't get out the same way again. We got to do something more elaborate this time.
Like the velociraptors with the electric fence. They never hit the same. Here's the thing. Remember, because their brains got bigger, a side effect of that was that they got smarter, and that's science. Brain grows, smarts grow, I think is the math equation. Greater. I don't know. That was such a terrible line, and I
know that actually kind of is defending this movie with science.
They had to get someone with a British accent to say it to try to make it sound better.
Obviously.
Just pick someone else, anyone else. Pick Nick Cage saying that line.
Yeah, but does it say in the Declaration of Independence?
The brains got bigger, and as a side effect, they got smarter.
Hey, he's in a lot of straight-to-video movies now. Is Deep Blue Sea 3 one of them? I need to look this up. I did not look up any of the actors because I assumed they'd be terrible, but maybe Nick Cage.
These sharks are too damn smart. Christ! You can't do that line with an American accent and sound like make it be a legitimate scientist. Somehow they had to make sure the English accent came out for that one. So it's so bad. Now, who do y'all think? So we kind of talked a little bit about it. Who, death wise or shark fight scene? Who kind of had the rawest end of the deal? Do y'all still think it's the wife? Was it Jan? Yeah.
Well, what do you mean? Worst death, best death? What are we talking about? There's quite a few deaths in this.
Most undeserved death.
I didn't clarify. Let me step back. Which one was the rough, the most brutal death? Maybe that's the
most brutal was Skarsgård.
Oh man,
sure.
Yeah. He gets his arm bit off after they've just succeeded. All right, they've just succeeded. Gets his arm bit off. They're clearly the wrong kind of doctors, and they actually mentioned it. Because I was like, wow, you guys are not doing a tourniquet until Sam Jackson comes in. The CEO of the company has to do a tourniquet, and there's all these doctors around. Not great. He finally does it. They get him out. They call the helicopter. I would have all gotten the helicopter personally, but whatever. Then he's almost out, and then the shark is petty as fuck, and is nah, you don't get to get out. Takes him, grabs everything down, everything explodes on fire, helicopter, takes him underwater, still in the gurney, and just dunks him into this poorly conceived window in the underwater facility, cracking it, and then therefore making them all flee. And just, you see him, and it's just so brutal. He's still alive somehow after losing all that blood.
Mask. But I was confused about how would the tank have? I guess it could have survived down with him, but that was a bit on the edge of.
That was brutal. That was brutal.
The amount of force it would have taken for them.
Sam Jackson's was amazing, but
that was so brutal.
Save that for a second. That football pass from the shark of Skarsgård. I mean, he was slicing through the water like hot knife through butter. No resistance. No, physics would tell you that's impossible. But
and did you see the crawl alley-oop too? the Sharks did the tag team alley-oop and then broke apart the body and then ate it. It was very reminiscent of the crawl alley-oop with the Gators, which I enjoyed. So
I didn't make that connection, but yeah, makes sense.
When they're working together, it's pretty rough.
That's what I meant about the wife, though. She had to not only watch him get dunked, which would have been horrifying, like his arm bitten off, loaded on the helicopter, disaster strikes, he's dunked, and then she gets to see him thrown against the glass before everything just goes to hell. It's like she really had the worst deal of any of them. And then the main doctor, when she was like, he was my best friend to the wife, I was like, girl, you can't one up on this one. I'm sorry.
That's true.
Oh god. That's
funny. There were so many characters in this film. Michael Rappaport is his, just funny self generally. LL Cool J's throwing out a cook die in his own oven. I don't think so. Jumping out over sharks after his parrot dies, having old man argument conversations with his parrot, like a married couple. There's Samuel Jackson's got a powerful, until he dies, he's got a powerful personality. Tom Jane, Saffron Burrows, she's got her own deal. This lady gets nothing. She gets no consideration in terms of any sort of personality or anything. So yeah, she really gets the short end of
Now let me ask y'all before we get into the greatest scene ever. Preacher, has an opportunity to sort of save his last his legacy, his last will and testament sort of thing, right? And he decides, hey, let me tell y'all how to make an omelet. Now, this is a guy who's trained to be a chef, and the perfect omelet is what he wants to give to the world. I mean, what do you think? Is an omelet really what you're kind of hoping he's gonna tell you about, or would you have picked a different?
If it would have been a bird dish, I would have laughed so hard. Some sort of bird.
What if it was that one dish, like the French one where they eat the bird, the bones and all?
Yeah, that'd have been great.
I liked that his key to the perfect omelet bucked convention. I like that he's trying to stir up some controversy in the wake of his death.
That's right.
2 eggs, don't add milk. That's a mistake. I don't know. I like that he was kind of breaking the rules and
saying, I'm going with
for the other people to deal with. You guys figure this out.
I'm going with my hottest take.
Yeah,
as I go down. I'm going with my most controversial.
The perfect omelet is my hottest food take.
They don't want you to know.
That was his logic for sure.
Yeah. They don't want you to know this. They don't want you to know the truth. But I'm here to tell you, 2 eggs, not 3. All right, look, let's get into really what makes this movie great. Sam Jackson. They've been hinting this whole time that he had some horrible accident on some trip, and they don't really talk about it much, which I thought funny when Sam Jackson decides to refer to his pep talk. He goes, "Yeah, we lost some people. We told everyone it was a storm, but it wasn't." And it was like, I didn't know y'all lost people. They really haven't set up what happened even enough to give you the ominous part first. What did you think of this pep talk first off? I was getting motivated.
It was speech from Independence Day. It was getting there. Oh. Didn't get a chance to finish.
Yeah,
but it was getting there.
It would be like Independence Day, except the aliens blow up the base halfway through.
Exactly. That would be awesome.
I mean, Taylor, now this is exactly why I wanted you to watch this movie when you said you hadn't seen it. Take me there. Take me to the initial reaction of what was going through your mind when you first saw it.
Well, so first of all, if anyone else hasn't seen this film like me, if you heard the trailer at the start of this, they literally fit most of his lines into that trailer. I was amazed by that.
Yeah.
He basically spent the whole movie asking things like, what does a shark wrangler do? And they recognize that gun. What did you do to these sharks? And then he's going to stand there and give them a pep talk to motivate them to swim out of this facility that he's been here for 2 hours. Like, I'm sorry. I was like, Samuel L. Jackson, you are not right on this one. I was like, this is not it. And like the guy told him, don't stand so close. And I was kind of like, yeah, he probably shouldn't stand that close, but I wasn't thinking much of it because he went into his whole monologue. I think the best line in that monologue though was when didn't he say something that the ice got a taste for blood or something like that?
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah.
I was like, you're talking to people about killer sharks. We've all seen the killer sharks, and you're going to try and make ice sound worse than the killer shark.
That he tried to story top. He tried to story top that.
I was like, this one-upper, when he died, I was like, this self-righteous dude deserved this. I was like, that's what you get for lecturing these people, mansplaining to these people how to get out of their own facility. Like, I was like, no.
Samuel L. Jackson actually hates that speech. He said that in an interview.
I'm not surprised.
But
it was very entertaining. I will say it definitely gets your
entertaining.
attention as a viewer because you're like, where on earth is this going? Like, what could he possibly say here to rally their spirits? Like, this is pretty hopeless. And I was like, this is a weak attempt at it, but in my opinion.
But he says, you think water moves fast? You should see ice. It moves like it has a mind. I'm like, what is what is happening right now?
And then he went on to talk about an avalanche. And I was like, an avalanche doesn't move like it has a mind. It's just gravity. It's just going down the mountain.
No. Look. They genetically modified the snow on that mountain. He's actually had this happen twice to him. He's like, look, it's not as bad.
What if it was snow, but it moved like water?
What if it's like Jack Frost? What if it's Jack Frost, Mitch, and the snow moves into a killer snowman? And you don't have any blow dryers handy. Downside. He tried to story top what was happening to them.
Well, look, you got to give people
amazing.
You got to give people hope.
Yeah.
No one wants to think that this is the worst thing. Like, if there's something worse out there, you're trying to. I want the one time where I think one upping something was probably for good more so than anything else. It did work though because he got ate hard. Not only that, then he got like brought underwater and ripped in half by the other shark.
I said it was like a Kit Kat. That was the way I wrote it in my notes.
Yeah, it was. Well, yeah.
Just broke off a piece.
Oh man.
I gasped. I gasped when it grabbed him. That was like, I don't know, especially like right in the middle of his monologue. Like it's so unexpected. Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah, the timing's perfect.
It's an hour into the film, so you still got 45 minutes left. Like it's you would not expect it. It's just when things are starting to get like, oh no, and that he just gets gone. So I mean, it's great. I loved it.
Well, and they hit with those sharp, like, so something I paid attention. So the music in this movie is fucking garbage. The whole score is just bad. But the one thing they at least did right is that when he gets got, I mean, those sharp violins just come in. And I mean, they hit hard, just like that shark. I mean, it is such
is that a type of violin, a shark violin?
Ooh, maybe.
Like, you're the music guy, Mitch. So I was just wondering if
there needs to be from this movie afterwards. Oh my god! I mean, what a perfect scene! What an absolute perfect scene. You're buying into the fact that he's rallying everyone. You really, even when you don't. Even when you know it's coming, you're still just like, it still kind of gets you. You're still like, oh, that's fucking awesome. It's such a great scene.
Yeah, and I watched it with my wife, who had also not seen it, and she just went jaw drop. I mean, when that happened, like I was specifically watching it, like, oh yeah, I know. So what you were saying, Mitch, I actually got to do. It was awesome. It was really. I know.
I'm so jealous. I'm jealous about it. I'm jealous of you getting to relive that with someone, and I'm jealous that Taylor got to experience it for the first time. And it's been so long since I've seen it. I would love to forget and then rewatch it again.
Well, ironically, that would mean you would have Alzheimer's, and then it would be really related to this film. You don't want that.
I don't want that. I don't want that. But yeah, no. So when this happens, I mean, the movie. I mean, it's like two different movies almost.
Yeah,
like,
shit got real after that.
Shit got real. Yeah. All right. So we've talked about some of the deaths. You know, T's and P's Goggins, T's and P's Parrots. Let's get to this ending. So they're brought up to the top, and we've talked already.
I think there's an important point before they get to the top is Preach kind of saves their life a few times on the way to the top.
Yeah.
And they've been separated the whole movie, and you're wondering when are they going to meet up? And he like finds them and gets them out of that. What was it? The emergency ladder shaft, whatever it was, and like helps them get further. Like, I don't know, because I felt like I kept wondering when is he going to be necessary, because he was great comic relief, but like he actually immediately started proving himself useful when he met up with the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the and there's the classic Preacher storyline of, like someone really close to you has to die, right? Like that's kind of like a classic revenge thing. And what was that in this movie? A parrot. the parrot had to die for that character to grow. That's what had to happen.
It sacrificed itself for him.
It did. It really jumped out. Yeah, that's true, actually.
I like that the parrot went out the same way he lived his life, calling him a fat ass the whole...
The dialogue from the parrot was so good. It was just so funny.
No.
And unexpected.
T's and P's, parrot. Yeah, he comes in clutch. Really, Preacher comes in... I mean, LL Cool J worked this contract well. I don't know if he knew the writer. I don't know what he did. He got the song. He got the best lines. He's like saving the day the whole time.
He gets the last line of the movie. Well, he gets the second to last line of the movie, which is take me back to the ghetto.
Yeah.
And then Tom Jane says, "Amen." End of movie. What?
What was his prayer that he did? Oh, 2 sharks down, 1 demon fish to go. Can I get an amen? Was one of my favorite lines.
LL Cool J is full of. I mean, look, this song, Nate. We didn't even get a chance to. This song is incredible.
The song is incredible. Okay, you want me to go through my favorite lines?
Please.
There's one of the lines, or one of the things is killer for centuries, the Gotti of the deep. That's right. He's comparing the shark to famed mobster John Gotti. There's another one that says abandoned pirate ships, eels, and sod scum. Fish that glow in the dark, the Titanic's hub. Underwater storms, your blood is so warm. Your life vest is off, and that turns me on. I don't even know what it speaks for itself, apparently.
I enjoyed struggling to flow with hemorrhages in your throat, getting the lap dance while I smash through your boat.
Yes, that line.
Eat your whole fam, nothing left but a right hand, clinging to a rail, escape attempts fail. I mean... God, this is.
Do you think they offered edits, or if they just read it and said,
no, his contract is like.
He wrote, he produced, he probably made the beat. Maybe I mean, I get to do everything. It was,
and then
awesome.
and then the very last line, yeah, DBS. Like he can't say Deep Blue Sea again. He never says he just says Deepest Bluest. He never says Deep Blue Sea in this song.
It's the TBS of movies. It's so synonymous. You can't miss it.
Oh God, it is a god awful fantastic song. Yeah, I mean this final scene. I mean, again, they're trying to. I mean, I guess they're just full at this point. They've eaten like 5 people.
Well, they're eating shark. I mean, the sharks only eat other. One of the shark. They only eat other sharks.
Yeah.
Like is they're just killing them for sport at that point.
Yeah.
Right. Like, oh, they didn't kill, Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Right. That was just for fun.
Oh man, what if Skarsgård's just still sitting there with an oxygen tank, just floating around? Like they still haven't like taken him out.
Well, he doesn't have a limb, so that doesn't help things for surviving a long time. But yeah, hopefully if he came out for a sequel, I would love he was one-armed in the sequel. I would actually love that.
He's like fucking Captain Hook. Like he's just oh shit. Yeah. So I mean, I thought LL Cool J was gonna eat it at the end there. Shark gets a hold of him, and then the doctor who has caused all of this decides she will sacrifice herself to kill the final shark.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
LL Cool J's got some of the best shooting of all time.
Yeah.
He shoots the shark. Okay. Shark's like 26 feet. Shoots the shark and Tom Jane, who is shark riding again.
Hold on, but why didn't Tom Jane shoot the shark? That was my biggest complaint with this whole movie. Why have the first scene where he shoots the shark that's swimming towards someone in the water, and then he can't do it when Susan's in the water? He had to jump in to save her. He had to throw down the harpoon gun literally in his hands to jump in to save her. Why didn't he shoot it?
Yeah,
why didn't he shoot it? I was like, he was so useful. He was the most useful the whole way through. And then he just lost it at the end. I was like, why even establish that he can shoot the shark with the harpoon? Only to have him throw down the harpoon gun. But I did love LL Cool J getting his moment of glory. So I will, it was worth it for that. But I just was like, this woman's her death was not needed because he literally had saved someone else from the exact same fate in the very first scene of the film. Why did she have to die? Because he had to be like real hero and jump in and grab her out of the water, and instead got a close-up view of her being eaten. Like, I just was like, why? Why did this have to happen? That's my whole rant for this movie. That was like, it just didn't make sense to me. Why wouldn't he try to shoot it? Like, he wasn't going to miss. We know he won't. We've seen that he can hit the shark. I don't know. I'm interested in your thoughts, but I was very like, that bothered me a lot.
Shark rider's got a shark ride.
It's he rides sharks like you could ride a bronco in a rodeo. No. Like he doesn't even. Oh yeah, why wasn't there a yeehaw? Like, yeah, like right, He said it, but he's underwater, so it didn't.
So it was like like that. Like I'll just
yes, yeah. Except he's Tom motherfucking Jane, so it sounded real cool. Like it sounded real cool. Yeah, I don't know. He's like. He should be in the Matrix. Like, there's a Matrix 4 coming out, like I think next year. Tom Jane should be in that just for his shark moves in this movie. Like, I don't get why he didn't get an audition.
He's proven himself.
Yeah, definitely.
I gotta tell you, this movie makes me question whether I truly understand how electricity and water works, because there's numerous times where I feel like people should have been electrocuted and they weren't, but then other times like they electrocuted a shark, and I'm like, I don't understand how any of the.
Mitch, you say that, but in our previous film, Piranha 3D, Elizabeth Shue, the cop, was shooting tasers into the water to kill piranhas. So I mean,
again,
fast and loose.
I one way or the other, I do not understand how electricity and water work. Apparently,
that's fair.
Why did she have to get off her wetsuit to pull out the electrical cable and ship?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
to get naked. Electricity? I didn't. Yeah. Would it have? I don't know, because it's rubber, isn't it? It wouldn't have conducted.
It should be rubber. Yeah, it had to get her. They had to get her in less clothes.
I realize that they're like all biologists and all that. So maybe different. Maybe they didn't take those courses, but still, I feel like something's missing here. Like some basic understanding is missing of these scientists.
Yeah, I mean, I get they didn't take the tourniquet course.
yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay,
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that. That's fine. I'm not as okay with them not knowing real basic stuff.
So. Oh God! All right. Well, look, we could talk about this movie for 3 more hours because it's a masterpiece, but. Very quickly, let's get into our final cut.
final cut.
If I may, before we start, shit. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, because I carry a big stick and I'm the meanest motherfucker in the valley. 2 sharks
Psalm
down,
23.
Lord. 1 demon fish to go. Can I get an amen?
Yeah, that's Psalm 23, word for word. That's exactly it.
I like that they gave him an amen, though. Multiple amens. I was, they didn't have to. Yeah,
That was good.
that was, man. That was hell of a pep talk.
It was better than Samuel L. Jackson's pep talk.
Well, yeah, because he didn't get eaten.
But he didn't get to finish. He didn't get to finish.
Yeah,
he had the last line.
What if Sam Jackson had that written down and Preacher just found the paper, it floated up or something? He's like, oh, that's fucking good. Just read that was going to be the end of Sam Jackson's. Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, what if Samuel L. Jackson's end of his speech was the end of the Independence Day speech?
We're going to survive.
Yeah, we're gonna live on. This is our Independence Day. Then got it. Think about that.
Oh,
there you go. See?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So Taylor, unsuspecting victim. This is the first time you've seen this movie. What are you giving this as your final cut?
I'd probably say 6 out of 10 shark protein cells.
Okay,
I don't know.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. It was definitely better than your average B movie, which is kind of what I expected it to be, is like a B movie, or like creature film in general. I feel like it was good. Like I enjoyed it. It was really a lot of fun to watch, but it wasn't like I said, I don't think I'd necessarily watch it again. Like I wouldn't. Like if it was on TV and I happened to come across it, maybe I'd watch it, but I wouldn't actively seek it out again, probably. I'd recommend it to anyone else who hadn't seen it. I would definitely recommend they watch it. It was a lot of fun.
So not Crawl level.
Crawl is superior as far as creature films from what I've seen. Zombievers is the best of the B movies,
obviously,
of the creature films.
Obviously,
10 out of 10 in this film. Defend that to the death. Crawl is a legitimately better movie than Zombievers, if we're being objective. But Zombievers is a lot more fun. Crawl is really good. I really, really like Crawl.
No.
Yeah. And Birdemic is the lowest on that list. But yeah, no. Deep Blue Sea was very enjoyable. I enjoyed just putting it on, not knowing what was going to happen. It had some surprises. I laughed a lot. I would say it was not predictable. I didn't expect really, there are a few things I predicted, but overall, especially with Sam Jackson death, you're not expecting him to go. It's got some really good twists in there, but it wasn't my favorite movie. Okay. Probably 6, maybe a 7, but around there.
Okay.
Not bad. Okay.
All right. Nate, what do you think? What's your final cut?
I'm also at a 6. Look, that Samuel L. Jackson death is 5 points by itself. It's so good. It was great watching it with someone who had never seen it before too. So that bumps it up a tiny bit. It's enjoyable. Tom Jane is a superhero, a shark riding superhero in this film. Should have got his own spinoff, in my personal opinion. That guy is awesome everywhere. Could he take the detective exam and be in New Orleans? Yes. Give me that. Give me that movie, please. I would 100% watch that. Deepest Bluest is one of the greatest movie songs of all time, as far as I'm concerned. Oh my God. I just got surprised. I got surprised birthday partied right there, just like in this movie.
That was the flare.
Jesus. That movie look, you said the music is garbage, and I agree until you get those credits going. And like Taylor said, you watch the whole credit. Yeah, what is this song, and why is it happening? Watch the video so you can see the hat is like a shark's fin dance. Highly recommend everyone check that out. That's called points by itself. So yeah, 6. Is the plot great? Does it lag in the middle? These are all things that are probably not super positives for it. The ensemble cast actually works pretty well. Chemistry wise, there's a lot of plot holes. CGI did not age well.
No.
It didn't, Starship Troopers came out a couple years before that and had some of the better CGI aging wise. This didn't really hit that, but the animatronics were good. So it's got a lot of good things for it. I think a 6 is solid. 6, maybe a 7 on a good day. It's good. It's enjoyable. If you know someone who hasn't seen it and doesn't know what happens, highly recommend showing this movie to them. That's great. That's like half the fun right there. What about you, Mitch?
Man, first off, I mean, hold on.
Deepest Bluest, my hat is like a shark's fin.
I love. Oh man, I'm gonna be jamming that.
Are we gonna make a TPM remix of that? I would be 100% down for that. By the way,
I don't know how we make that. I don't know how we improve on that, Nate. It's already. I mean, one more
Perfection.
time. It's like a shark's fin. Boom! It's just so good. All right, look. Let me.
Maybe you just throw in. Maybe the remix is just like a lot more and like you talk over it like in the beginning.
Yeah, maybe. God,
that could be it.
All right, so let's see. Here's before I give mine. Here's what folks on IMDb had to say who gave it 1 stars. Awful guff. That's a
okay. I don't take no guff.
This film makes no sense.
It's not really true.
These are super sharks who seem to know everything down to how CCTV systems work.
Well, yeah,
that's true.
It's one of the more basic TV systems.
In the film, they had the power to break down a sea door to enter the complex, but later on have trouble breaking an oven door.
Okay, well, the oven door is less surface area.
Yeah.
Less surface area. Come on, guys.
It also doesn't open the same way.
Yeah.
The other one.
I think we were more on the fence. I think was right. I think our
on the fence.
I was I was rooting for the shark. I mean,
that's fair.
We all are.
Hey, they got experimented on against their will. I'm 100% down for the sharks getting the revenge.
But I would say, compared to other creature horror films, I didn't necessarily hate the people. Like you're like, oh, I can't wait to see these people get eaten by whatever it is. Versus this one, I was like, I'd like to see some of them live. Like they're all decent folk. I don't know. I wasn't rooting for. I was probably rooting for the humans more so in normal creature films. I'm like, let's go, eat them all. Let's see it. But I don't know.
This one's our review is titled "Deep Blue Stink," and then the poster said you should go watch Blair Witch Project instead if you want to get real scared. Debatable.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe Deep Blue Stink though, good facility name.
Oh.
Hey.
Deep Blue. Fish not known for their great smells. That's fair.
And then the last one, I think this film was a load of shit. It calls it like she sees it. Look. This movie is not great up until Sam Jackson. You're absolutely spot on, Nate. Sam Jackson is 5 points entirely. And then
it's up there.
And then another point goes.
Death was pretty good too.
Skarsgård dunk is
That's
pretty awesome.
That's where I got interested.
The deaths are good. They're everything leading up to that. I mean, it is. I just remember watching this movie and being like, I'm bored out. I remember being bored in the first half, even with the Skarsgård scene. It was just kind of like, all right, that was cool. And then after that, I was just bored until Sam Jackson. I have to give this
a lot.
I have to give this movie. I'm gonna give it a 6 too. I debated between a 5 and a 6.
6. All right, there you go.
That was not the drop I meant, but it's a drop I'm going with because there you go. I'm not going back and editing this. Yeah, no, for all the reasons we've discussed. It's a fun movie. It's not a good movie, but if you've never seen it, watch it. Absolutely. Hopefully you've seen it before you listen to us, tell you everything that happens.
Yeah, we kind of ruined the two best. Although even watching them are still good. Even watching it again, I think you'd still get something out of it.
I think
it's great.
I don't think you can even remotely picture what happens from our convoluted discussion of it.
That's fair.
Would recommend.
Fair. And Taylor, I think you would say this is probably unsuspecting victim friendly.
Definitely. It is not. I was never frightened watching this film.
Yeah. No. Nor should you be.
I'm not afraid of sharks, though. I think if someone was legitimately afraid of sharks, this could freak them out. But it was not frightening. It was a lot more comedy than scares.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that kept me from going even higher was, just these are the worst scientists. Somehow they have gotten their degree. Like, okay, even Scoggins, whatever. He went to Caltech for 4 years, and then he didn't know what theory of relativity was.
Oh my God, that line was so funny. Oh, I wrote that one down because I was like, this guy went to Caltech for 4 years, and the way Preacher explained the theory of relativity to him was, quote, the best explanation of physics he'd ever heard. I was like, there's zero chance that's correct, but okay.
Yeah, the most enjoyable maybe, but no, God. Anyway, all right, well, look, that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. Nate, where can they find us?
You can find us, as always, on Twitter at TXPodMassacre, Texas Podcast Massacre on Facebook and Instagram. Check us out on Apple Podcasts. Maybe give us a 5-star review, maybe mention Human Centipede. If you put a 5-star review on there and put a movie, it'll go on the list. We have a few movies on the list coming up in August. So if you have put a review in recently, we're going to get to it. Don't worry. Texas Podcast Massacre at gmail.com is our email address. Send us all your questions, concerns. If you want to make a remix of Deepest Bluest, My Hat is Like a Shark's Fin, and send it to us, we would really appreciate that. And by we, I mean Mitch exclusively. So do that. And yeah, we have 2 more weeks of Man vs. Animal coming out. Week 4, Mitch's pick. I have not seen this movie, and I still haven't seen it yet. So I'm going to watch it this weekend probably, Mitch. So I will text you and let you know. But Man's Best Friend. We got genetically modified dogs. Is it in the vein of Monkey Shines, like genetically modified monkeys? Are we getting close?
A little bit. It's certainly a lot more intense and more experimentation done.
Okay, that's week 4. Week 5, the instant classic, Tammy and the T-Rex.
The gore cut. Now we will be watching the gore cut.
The R-rated gore cut, not the PG. Not the PG cut. Not a horror film. The R cut, where a bunch of people get murdered, is the one we're watching. See a young Paul Walker turn into a T-Rex, and a young Denise Richards watch him and fall in love with him as a T-Rex. Can't go wrong on that one. So that's week 5 to wrap it up. And definitely try to check out those movies before we do the reviews. So you can see all of them in their glory and follow along with us as we talk about the movies.
That's right. Well, Taylor, thank you so much for coming back and hanging out with us. We need to have you back sooner. It's been too long.
I agree. Any more fun films like this, count me in.
Absolutely. We've got some we've been holding on to, so we'll no carousels. We've already, I don't think anything on that level just yet, but yeah.
We did a movie called The Shed not too long ago. We mercifully skipped over you.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, there's only so many that we can try to get you with.
Oh, goodness. That'll wrap it up for this week's episode. From all of us here at Texas Podcast Massacre, thank you so much for tuning in, and just keep telling yourself it's only a movie. Good night.